Happy New Year from Austin, Texas. On behalf of the NMC, I'm delighted to welcome you to the NMC Beyond the Horizon. In this one-hour discussion, we'll explore how you can get the most out of your NMC membership. By diving into expanding benefits of an NMC membership and ways to get involved, we hope to make your NMC experience more relevant and heroic than ever. I'm your host today, Alex Freeman, Senior Director of Membership and Special Projects at the NMC. I'm joined by Larry Johnson, CEO of the NMC, Sam Becker, Senior Director of Publications and Communications, Gordon Jackson, Senior Director of Technology, and Nancy House, Director of Meetings and Events. I'm here to assist you with technical support as well as host the event. So please feel free to ask a question via the unified chat if you have any questions or encounter any technical problems. And we hope that you have a lot of questions today because we're going to save a lot of time to answer those for you. If you're on Twitter or hashtag, that's great because so are we. And the hashtag for today's event is hashtag NMCHZ. That's NMCHZ. Now on to the moderator of today's program, our very own CEO, Larry Johnson. Take it away, Larry.
Thank you, Alex. It's such a pleasure to do these kinds of sessions and to have a chance to interact with folks from all over the membership and all over the country. And so I echo Alex's hope that you will share lots of questions as we go along. My role today is to serve as moderator and to open the session up with a couple of thoughts. And so I put together a couple of little stories that I want to share. Let me just screen share a couple of photographs with you, and we'll take a look at those. And so the first photograph here is a photograph of a bookshelf, but there's a story behind it, and this particular bookshelf is in Spain, in Tarragona, at a university there that goes back for nearly 700 years. And when I was there to visit about a year ago, the rector, or president as we would call him, of the university invited me to go and take a look at their rare book library. And of course I immediately said, wow, yeah, I would love to do that. And so off we went to this really pretty small, lovely library with wooden shelves and such, and it was a room full of books that looked a lot like this. And the interesting thing about these books is they were all from the 14th and 15th centuries. The 15th and 16th, rather. So the 1500s and some in the 1400s. Some of them were hand transcribed. The rest of them were among the earliest books that had ever been printed. And I'll never forget when I walked in there, the sensation of being in that space. I could describe the smell of the room. It was not really musty, but you felt the age of the books that were in there. When you took a book off the shelf, which I had the opportunity to do, and you opened it, it crinkled in a particular way that I'll remember the sound as long as I live, as the pages literally opened up, and beautiful, beautiful text rendered in colors and inks that are pretty uncommon these days. And as I stood there, I thought, wow, this is 15th century ICT. Back then, this was the state of the art of educational technology. And for the first time, universities were able to capture ideas, knowledge, and thoughts and literally save them for hundreds of years to future generations so that people like me could partake of them far down the road. Now, as things would have it, the very next week, I was in another library. And it had a very, very different feel. And this library was in Sydney and at a prestigious university there. And they had just opened it. And the thing that was really unique about the library was that when you walked in, you didn't see books, because the books were actually in a vault. some of it below ground, and what you're looking at is just one corridor. That's actually a robot in the center, and the silver squares are all fireproof boxes, and that robot can retrieve one of those boxes in less than 2 seconds and bring it to the front for a librarian. There's no need for a Dewey Decimal System. The books are automatically coded by their unique identification number, so they could be in any box anywhere and still be able to be retrieved within 2 seconds. They can store 1.5 million books there, and it's humidity controlled, fireproof. It basically protects those books in a very significant sort of way, which allows the library itself to be a very different space. And when you walk in there, it's not quiet at all. It's noisy. In fact, it's full of students, and they're working in groups and rooms with whiteboards full of notes and equations, and their laptops are all open. And I was just struck by how libraries have changed in the last few years and how they have really come to be quite different places. And it struck me that that really is what we think about here at the NMC, that being an NMC member is very much about riding that wave of change. And Bill Gibson, one of my favorite authors, was interviewed by Atlantic Magazine a few years ago, and they asked him about how he thought about the future. And his answer is something that I've used over and over again since I read it. And his response was that the future is already here. It's just unevenly distributed. You think about that. That's the secret sauce, really, behind the Horizon Project, is that we look for the future wherever it may be, understanding that it is unevenly distributed. And many of our member institutions are the places where innovation is happening, and we can go there and see new ideas as they're forming, which is really part and parcel, I think, about what it means to be an NMC member. Now, one way that we've already mentioned that you can play in this arena is to follow this hashtag. This is the simplest way to plug into the Horizon Project, because this is a two-way conversation with educational technologists all over the world that are interested in the same things that we are. And if you follow that, you can learn about new projects, new reports. It's the official news channel for us, and so I wanted to encourage you to take a look at that from time to time. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Horizon Project to start with, because it is currently our biggest project. We just launched another one that I think is going to grow to be very big as well, around personalized learning. But I want to just touch base on the Horizon Project because we're in our 15th year. And we have published a lot of different sorts of Horizon projects. And we're bringing the series into a little tighter focus this year. But so far there have been 55 editions of the Horizon Report. 55 editions since the first one in 2004. And as I said, we've completed 14 years now. We're into our 15th. Now, the interesting thing about the project is that it really reflects a global audience. And this is something that honestly, when we began the project, we had no idea to what extent educators all over the world were interested in tracking where the future is going to be coming from. And so this is a map of the last 10,000 downloads of the Horizon reports. And you can see we're very strong in North America and in Europe, but our audience in Asia, particularly China and India, is really growing. We've got a growing audience in Brazil and the rest of South America, and Australia, as well as New Zealand. And 10,000 downloads is a little bit less than a single day's. In a year, we have grown to the point where we're seeing just about 4 million downloads of the Horizon Report. Now, what's significant about that, and I just throw up the most recent higher ed one, we're literally going to be releasing the 2016 one in 2 weeks in San Antonio, is how it's made. And I think most people are familiar with the fact that we look at, you know, what technologies are going to be interesting over a variety of horizons, and we look at challenges and we look at trends. But what's the most important part of this project to me are the people behind it, our expert panels. And this is the expert panel from last year, and this is one of the most fun ways that members can participate in this project. And we have a process to, and maybe Sam or Alex, you could type in the URL for how to nominate yourself. But if you're interested in being one of the experts, seats open up every year, and we would love to have you involved and involved in those discussions. So that's just a little background on that project and its international focus. We have other projects as well, and I mentioned the personalized learning project that was funded by Gates last November. That one has a uniquely U.S. perspective, but one of the things that we hope to do today is to engage you and share some information about some of those things. Now, what I was asked to do in my little opening here is to share a couple of things that I've been thinking about, and so I'm going to do that fairly quickly. I'm going to take us up into the 30,000 foot level, and I want to make a stop by one of the philosophers that really influenced me when I was in graduate school, and that's Jose Ortega y Gasset. And back in the 30s, he wrote a book called Mission of the University. This is a photograph of him and his book. And I think about his perspective on the mission of the university a lot, because technology moves so fast. Sometimes it's nice to have, you know, a compass point. And I think that he provides a really, really useful compass point for us. And in his view, there were 3 main aspects to the mission of the university, and they all relate to knowledge. And the first one is where I started today with the notion of the libraries, and that is to conserve the knowledge that we have as a species. All of the human knowledge that we can save should be saved for future generations. The second aspect is the research mission, which is to create new knowledge and to add what our generation has learned to the knowledge of prior generations. And then the third aspect is to pass that on. This is the teaching mission, to pass that on to future generations and to do the sorts of things that ensure that we're going to continue to be relevant as a species and to progress. And you know, as he wrote that tradition really dates back to the very beginnings of Western education, which were almost 1,000 years ago. 1093 was the founding of Oxford, and that's generally regarded as the beginning, or the University of Bologna in 1086. This painting is from the 15th century, although if the clothes were different, it might actually be from today. And I'll just kind of leave that. The second thought I want to juxtapose with that big, important mission that we've all devoted our careers to is a notion of change. And this is the 50th anniversary of this paper, which was written by Gordon Moore and is the paper that people refer to when they talk about Moore's Law. Now, Moore's Law essentially says something like this, that as time goes on, the capacity of digital devices increases and the cost decreases, and that capacity roughly doubles and the cost roughly falls in half about every 18 months. And this is a really linear relationship that has been tracked out in all sorts of ways. And so it could be supercomputer speed or residential internet, processors on a chip, hard drive efficiency, essentially anything digital. The slopes of those lines may change, but the relationship of being a linear, trackable change is something that's unique to Moore's law. And in the book that I highlighted earlier, they use an analogy of the chessboard. And if you think about how long it's been since 1965, 50 years, we have come halfway up the chessboard. If you can imagine moving to the right on each square doubles the capacity of technology, then today we're at 2 to the 32nd times the capacity of the technology we had in 1965, which was really the birth of the semiconductor near then. That's 4.3 trillion times the capacity. I'll let that sink in, because that's not really the real story. The real story is that in the next 18 months, that number is going to double again to 8.6 trillion times 1965. And in 3 years, it will double yet again, and will be 17 trillion times more than 1965. Now, why do I share this with you? Well, because what's happening with technology is we're at a unique inflection point, and that is that the way that our devices are changing no longer feels technological as much. And so when we think about the new kinds of devices that are coming along, we don't really think of them as computing devices. And I'll give you a good example. So in 1996, the fastest computer in the world was at Livermore Labs, and it achieved a speed of 2 teraflops, which was miles per hour. It was really fast at the time, fastest in the world. Cost $55 million, and it took up the space of a tennis court. In 2006, another computer was released that did 2 teraflops of speed, but it would only cost $500, and it fit in a box about the size of a shoebox. You put it on top of your TV. It was called the Nintendo NES, the Super Nintendo, and was a gaming device. $500. That's how this pace of technology can change over that period of time. That was 4 doublings in that time. And so the curve that we're looking at, we're really in the vertical part of this curve. And the final point I'm going to make in this is that actually, if you look at it even closer, there's a fascinating blog post on this on a site called Wait But Wine, which I really recommend, is that it's not smooth like it's usually drawn. What we see are a whole bunch of little growth curves. And so we had the growth curve with the iPhone, and before that we had the growth curve with the internet. Before that we had the growth curve with the personal computer. And we're in the middle of the growth curve with social media right now. A big part of, I think, what it means to be successful as an NMCer is to recognize how that change is happening. And it goes back really, I think, to the comments that we started with. And so when people ask me how can they get the most out of being an NMC member, these are the things that I recommend. I recommend that you be open as your foundational philosophy. Try new things and be curious. Take risks, and when you do, understand that you're going to fail sometimes. Learn from it. Celebrate it. Be creative. And wherever you can, seek out wisdom, especially uncommon wisdom. And that, my friends, is what I think being part of the NMC is really all about. And so with that, what I want to do is I want to turn it, where does it go next, Alex? Back over to you?
Yeah.
So let me turn it back over to Alex. and let's get into the formal parts of the program.
All right, thank you, Larry, for that inspiring way of looking at technology and really why we're together as a community. I think understanding that evolution over time and that we play a very important part of that is for me, is a very inspiring part of why I'm with the NMC. But I want to get deep into some of the nuts and bolts of the NMC membership, some of the benefits that we have, some of the reasons why you should be part of our community. So just give me a second, and I'm going to share a screen with you. I'm going to give you a quick run through of kind of the top 10 reasons to be part of the NMC. First here is stand on the forefront of EdTech leadership and practice. How can you do so? Through our online programs, our summer conference, our campus leadership advisory board, NMC Horizon Project Expert Panel, and through our NMC K-12 Ambassadors program. Who can participate in this? Who can stand at the forefront? Well, all of NMC. All of NMC, including administrators, faculty, technology integrators, media center staff, librarians, technologists. And what's the time commitment? These are some of the questions that I got initially were about how much time, and the benefits that we offer can be as low as downloading a report or as high as being involved in helping to produce a report or be on the editorial board. So it really is up to you on how much time commitment you want to have, whether it's low, middle, or high. We have I'm sure many of you have seen a Gates event that we're holding at South by Southwest EDU for campus leaders, and that might be a good place for you to have be part of these high-level discussions. Next, expand your vision and leadership skills. So this is something that takes maybe a higher time commitment by joining an NMC Horizon Project Expert panel or becoming an NMC ambassador. We want to recognize you for your strategic technology expertise. So, you know, as Larry had mentioned, nominate yourself to be part of our expert panel, or let us know if you want to be have a higher time commitment and want to be more involved. And this is for our more experienced campus leaders and those that are rising stars on your campus. Next is gain practical scholarly experience. As a member of the NMC editorial board or as an NMC Academy teaching fellow, you will drive critical conversations and pay forward the key skills that have served you well. This is an opportunity to give you a chance to pay back, to pay forward. So this is looking at more experienced campus leaders and rising stars. So a little bit more of a time commitment from you if you're interested. Building out your professional network. This is one of the biggest benefits that I think our members get. When I go and visit with members or get on calls, they love the networking that they're able to do. They're interacting with different thought leaders and innovators from leading universities, schools, libraries, and museums from not only the U.S. but from around the world. So this can occur through our various events, our programs, our social media, the NMCHZ hashtag that Larry mentioned. That's a good way of connecting with the greater NMC community. Next is to share your work. We'd love to hear about your projects. And in fact, we just recently had a call for projects for the NMC Horizon Report Higher Ed Edition, where we want to try to feature as much of the cool, innovative stuff that's going on in your world. But there's other ways too, whether it's the NMC Summer Conference. I know that we're still accepting proposals. Doing an NMC Spotlight on your particular university if you're interested in that. We have our Campus Leadership Advisory Board meetings that we're going to be kicking off this year. So if you want to get more involved with sharing some of the projects that you're working on so that we can help broadcast those cool things that are happening in your community. So that can be a low time commitment. It can be a matter of just letting us know what projects and submitting those. And all of NMC can be involved in that type of work. Explore groundbreaking ideas. You know, you can gain access to our vast library and growing, as Larry showed, of our publications from various sectors and global regions for anybody. And so this is a matter of just of getting even exclusive strategic briefs that we have, which is part of our next is broadening your horizons. We have availability of strategic briefs to you, and also allowing you to serve on some of our editorial boards. I know that we're creating country-level reports, and we always want to, if somebody has a particular expertise in a certain part of the world, we want to know, and we want to have you involved in that work that we do. Designing your own learning pathways. Our high-quality resources are for NMCers and, for the most part, by NMCers. So we want to facilitate communication between those that have something to share and those that are looking for information. Say you're deep into building a makerspace on your campus, and you have some interesting thoughts on how to go about doing that. Well, you may have somebody within our community who is just trying to get that idea off the ground and would love to communicate with you. So any way that we can help bring these two groups together is very important to us. Sharpening your skills. We provide online programs such as through this platform, summer conference workshops, and some of our NMC Academy offerings. So we have opportunities for you, for all of the NMC, to find ways to sharpen your skills. And finally, we have some member-only services, resources and services. So you'll be getting hard copy editions of the NMC Horizon Report series, so we can provide report slide decks and curated desktop research and reading lists for you if you're interested. And so that's just really contacting us and letting us know that you want to have that type of thing happening on your campus. You know, we're very happy to be involved with any type of high-level meetings that you have on your campus by Skyping in, or we can help provide some guidance or support, or help connect you with individuals with particular skills that can help you along the way. I just wanted to point out our updated membership benefits chart, and got a few new things on here that I wanted to make you aware of. Of course, we have discounted professional learning available to you, so letting us know if there's a particular way that we can help you, or a particular interest in professional development, we can work with you on making that happen. Next is, hey, if you want to bring us and have a face-to-face presentation, this is something that we love to do. I was able to go out and meet with some folks while I was in Philadelphia, University of Pennsylvania, College of New Jersey, and University of Delaware, while I was traveling for a conference in that area. So it's a great way of connecting and just letting us know that you may want somebody from the NMC staff to come visit you. We'd love to do that. And also, if we want to Skype us in or bring us in the Hangout, we'd love to do that as well. In a couple other areas, and we'll dive deep into this when we get into publications and communications, but looking at NMC website contributors, we're always looking for people to help us share those blog stories, and then also joining us on our expert panels. Of course, we love to have members be a major part of the work that we do there. So I just wanted to kind of go through those different benefits that we offer, as well as the types of audiences that are best for these, and the type of time commitment that each take. But we feel like we offer an array that you can choose from. So at that point, I'll turn it back over to Larry.
Okay, so what we'd like to do is to kind of go on down the row of folks here, and so next is Samantha Becker. So Samantha, you want to take it away?
Sure. Thank you, Larry, and thank you, Alex. I'm Samantha Becker, as many of you know, as the person that sends lots of communications, and I'm going to get kind of break down the types of communications that you will be getting and should be receiving, as well as talking about our publications. So Larry gave a really great overview of the NMC Horizon project, and Alex reiterated how we love to have NMCers be a part of those expert panels. It really takes a village to create a Horizon report, and by village I mean expert panels that consist of many NMCers. So I strongly encourage you to nominate yourself or a colleague who you think would do great work. And all the links for nominating yourself or submitting a project are available at horizon.nmc.org. So if you're ever wondering, oh, how do I get involved, all the links are on that one page in a central location for you. In addition to our standard NMC Horizon reports and technology outlooks, which you may already be getting, we also have a number of member-only publications that are accessible only by logging on to our website. and being a member. This includes publications like a strategic brief on personalized learning, which we know is a huge emphasis on many NMC campuses, as well as some of our latest grant work, as well as country-level reports that not only can you access, but you have the opportunity to serve on an editorial board. So if you have an expertise or are from a certain country or spend a lot of time there, then we would love to benefit from your insights and get you a part of that process, and also have an editorial credit there. So in addition to our publications, which we tend to release at least one a month yearly, we also put out a highlights report. So if you go on nmc.org/publications, you'll see our 2014 highlights report, a 2015 one launching soon to commemorate all of our collective accomplishments. And so I'm always, and the NMC staff is always sending out communications whenever a publication is out, so that you have immediate access. But if you're ever wondering about the latest NMC news beyond our website, the NMC has a very vibrant presence on social media. Facebook and Twitter in particular, although we're also on LinkedIn and on Instagram, where we've had NMC Instagram takeovers. We always post the latest news and updates there, which makes it really easy to simply hit the retweet button or share in order to get your network and your folks engaged with what we're doing. In addition, we send out a number of communications about speaking at events. By now you've probably got an email from me, or several, from Nancy, that the NMC call for proposals has been open. And she'll get a little bit more into that when she speaks. But we're always looking to have our members engaged in that sort of work. So look out for those opportunities via email, event registration for the next virtual event, new programs that we're creating, new publications, of course, and submitting your projects, not only for inclusion in NMC Horizon reports, but for other types of communications we circulate about the great work that our members are doing. Alex mentioned that as part of our publications and our communications and our Horizon work and beyond, we're always happy to come and speak to your campus. We also do a number of virtual meetings. So a couple months ago, I had the opportunity to Skype in and present the findings of a Horizon report that way. So if you are planning a high-level meeting or any sort of meeting or have an event, definitely look to the NMC staff and the Horizon project team to debrief your campus on recent findings and general Horizon report information. So with that being said, after my portion, I'm going to go ahead and drop in maybe some helpful links there in the chat to get you started. But I look forward to engaging with you in 2016 and beyond.
Thanks a lot, Samantha. And I want to encourage folks in the audience to go ahead and post comments or questions that you may have in the unified chat, where we will see them and weave them into where we're going. Next up, we'd like to talk about our premier event that we hold each year, and that's every year in June. And for as long as I've been at the NMC, that event has been planned and executed by Nancy House, who does a fantastic job at it. So Nancy, why don't you take it away and give us a little preview.
I just wanted to say thank you, Larry, very much. I appreciate your intro. I'm very excited today to share the information that we have on the summer conference. The summer conference is scheduled for June the 14th through the 16th in Rochester, New York. This year it's going to be hosted by the Rochester Institute of Technology Magic Center with support from the University of Rochester. So we're looking really forward to working with both of them. Rochester is a beautiful town for those of you who have not been there, and our location for the conference is going to be downtown in the Radisson Hotel, Rochester Riverside, and directly across the street is the convention center where all the conference events will be taking place. And so for planning and all, the schedule this year is going to be Tuesday, the NMC Academy workshops, and Wednesday and Thursday, the actual summer conference will be held. We have a lot of exciting things going on at the summer conference. We're able to confirm our keynote presenters, Brian Alexander, who always does a great job at inspiring us, and Constance Steinkühler, who will be speaking on educational gaming. And on Wednesday night, we're going to have a very special night planned where we're going to take all the attendees over to the RIT campus via bus, and we're going to have tours, music, and dinner at the Magic Center. The staff there, the planning committee there, is working. I met with them just last week, and they're working on putting on a really fun event for all of you. As has been mentioned previously in this session, the call for proposals is currently open, and the deadline to submit your proposal is January 31st. We want to hear from all of you, so be sure to share your projects and all the work that you've been doing, and we just want to hear from you all and look at your proposals. One suggestion that we do have when submitting your proposal is that you work with other people from other campuses and member universities to submit your proposal. We love to have group projects. They're very popular by all the members. Registration is also open at this time, so be sure to register early and reserve your spot. And one of the things that hasn't been talked about right now is we do have the option 2 membership available for members, and with that it's $5,000 per year, and with that you do receive 4 complimentary registrations to the summer conference. So don't forget about that if you're an option 2 member already, or if option 2 membership is something that you're interested in. And to close today, I just want to give a big shout out to the RIT Planning Committee, who has Andy Phelps, Stephen Jacobs, and Jen Hinton, along with others from their campus. Thank you. And I'm gonna post a link right now in the chat so you can find all the information that is available on the website. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. And so, as Nancy pointed out, we've got a lot of things planned. I'd like to also note that, just in the region, Niagara Falls is nearby, the Eastman Kodak museum is there, the history of photography and all of those sorts of things. And so it's a very, very interesting time. And so, Alex, does it come back to you at this point? Is that right? Okay, so over to you.
Well, we'll give it to Gordon. Talk a little bit about how members can use the website.
My apologies. Gordon, take it away.
No problem. So this is going to be a fun little treasure hunt because all my colleagues were talking about different things. And what I'm going to briefly do is show you on the website where some of these things are and how you can get to them. So I'm going to let the screen share load up. Just give it a couple more seconds. And we're going to start with the page. It's kind of a landing page for you when you log in. And you may have noticed that up at the top, you've got your organization listed. Good way to verify that you're connected correctly with your organization on the NMC website. You've got member-only content list right here, so you can get right to it. This is a test account of mine. It's got some old events in it, but any events you've registered for, it shows up here with links. And then, of course, any courses and workshops you've been registered for. So a nice, quick way to get to everything. You've also got a profile on the site, and you can get to that from, obviously your profile link here, or your picture, or your name in the header once you've logged in. Just quick notes on here. Keep your contact information up to date. You can also upload a profile photo. This nice one is actually courtesy of Larry Johnson himself, which is nice. I'm not sure Larry's available for everyone. However, I think I like that a lot. You can also change your password in settings. Sometimes people have a hard time finding that. If we move on, there's a special homepage for members that appear. And On it, we like to highlight the different stories for members, and it's in this big slider here, and you can navigate back and forth and find some information there. You can also check out, other members, other academic institutions and corporate members we have, NGO partners. It's sometimes a great way to find other people participating in the NMC in your area. For example, if I go to my organization, which just happens to be an NMC, I'm drilling down into it. It will show me on the left here who's members of my campus advisory board, who's my liaison to the NMC, and other members. And it makes it really easy to reach out and invoke the community on campus. If you see someone or someone's interested in being part of the online community, all they have to do is register. It's very easy. You create an account on the nmc.org site. The very first thing you do is choose your organization, and once that is activated, you're in. And all the discounts are automatically applied, and all the content is automatically available to you. And we'll switch over to that right now. We're going to kind of go across this top part here. So really quickly, as Samantha mentioned, we've got our publications, and there's a tab for that. You can drill into the different publication types we have. We talked about annual reports or annual highlights. We talked about strategic briefs and things like that. You can see the member-only content with a special blue headline and marked clearly. So these are what Samantha was talking about there. Going across, next is events, and we have an events page that kind of lists all the active ones that are going on right now. I wanted to point out on the summer conference page, if you go there, you'll see how to submit your proposal for the summer conference and some guidelines. So everything's right there. As Larry mentioned, there's some local attractions, and you can get information on this page regarding that, watch a video, and of course register for the conference itself. The last portion I wanted to just highlight really quickly is another thing Samantha talked about is our blog. And most of these articles are written by NMCers. And there's a process to submit your story, and information will come soon about the next round of stories we'd like to collect. And it's a great way to get exposure, to get your voice out through the NMC community. And some of those stories are, you can filter and get to topics you like. And so I'm just going to quickly point out our tag cloud over here. We try and keep our content curated well. So if you click on a tagged word like educational technology, you get a lot of articles regarding that. We also have a really good search functionality here. So if I search for personalized learning, or even just personalized, I can get to a whole list of content here, and I can also drill down. So say I'm interested in personalized learning only in higher ed. There's topics over here, and I can get to higher education, click on that, and get to the stories I want. So we have a good way of filtering. And finally, the last thing I want to point out is if you have any questions or issues or problems, we're happy to respond. And at the bottom of every page is a Contact Us link, and very simple form. We actually do accept submissions if you are a robot and you're able to click this box. That's really the only requirements we have. And with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Alex, and I think we're going to take some questions.
Okay, I see one question came in, but we have a couple that came in before the show got started. So I want to answer one of those about the SeaLab. So the Campus Leadership Advisory Board is a way for individuals at campus leaders or rising stars to be a big part in helping to shape the programs for the NMC. I'm going to be kicking off monthly SeaLab meetings beginning next month, where it's opportunity to come together to helps share what's going on in your campus and provides us an opportunity to share some of the projects that we're working on in a format other than an email, so in a more of a conversation type of a manner. Within the position summary, if you will, is we're looking for 5 faculty leaders from each NMC member institution, or 5 other leaders outside of faculty who are involved in the planning, implementation, or support of educational technology projects. Basically serving as our ear to the ground and we'll engage with you on your insight and opinions. So the essential functions are serving as an advisory board to help ensure timeliness and relevance of our programs and activities. Leadership, so attending special SeaLab meetings and contributing insights about innovative practices at your institution, and the communication side of that, which is sharing NMC news and other relevant information across departments at your institution. So we're always looking for folks that can to join that special group, and that's if you have a little bit more time to offer. I mean, we try to keep the time commitment low, but you're really going to be the key folks on your campus who we're going to be working with throughout the year. So that was a question that had come in early. So had another question about personalized learning, Larry?
Yeah, let me answer Kathy Phillips' question ahead of that, though, because it's really related to what you were just talking about. And we love to hear that kind of a challenge, Kathy. I know that NC State is an enormous institution, and of course we'd love to find a way to involve people in any way that we can. The 25 number, so that I can add a little more detail to that, is the number of folks that we can add to the SeaLab for your institution. There are lots of other ways that people can participate. If they're interested in receiving the information, you can share it with whoever you like. You can distribute it broadly across your institution, really with no limits at all. If you wanted to bring 25 people to summer conference, we would love to talk about that or more, and we could work with you on what we call a busload discount once you get up to numbers like that. So the 25 is really a number of folks that we would keep profiles on the website and give back, give login access to. If you need more, we're happy to talk to you about that. It's something that we think would be a great problem to solve together, and so please don't feel limited by that, and call us and let us know how we can help you to get that goal taken care of. If you have any follow-ups on that, just put them in the chat. There was a question about our personalized learning initiative, and that is our newest initiative. As I alluded earlier, we just received a substantial grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to work with institutions that are engaged in 2 aspects of what they're calling post-secondary success, and half of it is personalized learning. The other half is student success. That includes all sorts of early warning sorts of things, intervention programs, counseling, advising, those sorts of things are part of that. We're working with both of those groups of grantees. Now, personalized learning is something that we have been following initially as part of the Horizon Project for, gosh, going on 5 years, I think now. And it's a personal interest of mine, and several of us on the staff here. We've written a number of white papers, strategic briefs actually, on the topic. We looked at what was happening in personalized learning in the U.S., in Brazil, in the Netherlands, and in Australia. We've also looked at recent developments in personalized learning that are creating things that are being called course apps, which is a very interesting dimension of this, along with, of course, learning analytics and adaptive learning and the science behind all of those sorts of predictive analytics. You'll be hearing a lot more about it. We're going to be doing a big event at South by Southwest, sponsored by the Gates Foundation, that will introduce people to some of the grantees that Gates is working with to develop examples of all of these sorts of things. And we're also building out now the NMC member side of all of this, because we know that there are a lot of things that are happening on NMC member campuses that are significant in this area, and we're looking for ways to involve NMC members. For example, we just sent out an invitation to participate in that South by event if you're going to already be there, but there will be other things that will be coming along too. So watch this space. When it comes to personalized learning, you'll be learning a lot more about it in the coming weeks and months.
Awesome. And I see another question came in specifically about the K-12 report and gathering stories and information pertaining to that edition. So there will be a K-12 report in the near future, and just to reiterate, because they're very important links, the best way to be involved in that is, of course, to nominate to serve on an upcoming panel. Specifically, check the K-12 box. Additionally, if you have a project or know of other people that have projects, please encourage them to submit their projects really at any time. We accept projects year-round, so it doesn't even need to be for a specific edition. We're constantly surveying projects submitted by NMCers. So again, if you go to horizon.nmc.org, there are a couple of links there to nominate yourself to be on a panel, to submit a project, and even to become a partner for a future edition of the NMC Horizon Report. So we always love to get K-12 NMCers and get them more involved in our work.
Absolutely. And so I think we're coming to the end of our time, and I think we've touched on all the questions that have come in. I'm going to pass it over to Alex to take us on home and express my personal thanks to those of you who have made time to be with us this afternoon. We appreciate your time being spent with us very much. So on to you, Alex.
All right, thank you, Larry. Okay, to wrap up today's program, I want to thank our moderator and panelists from the NMC for taking time to dive deeply into NMC memberships and all things member-related. Participants, if you want more information or on anything you saw or heard today, let us know by contacting me directly at alex@nmc.org to learn about future NMC Beyond the Horizon programs and get involved in our community. Please visit our website at nmc.org, like us on Facebook, or friend us on Twitter at nmcorg. Stay tuned. We'll be soon announcing the topics for our next NMC Beyond the Horizon lineup for 2016. And if you do have any suggestions on things that you would like to cover within an online conversation such as today, then let us know. Drop me a line, alex@nmc.org. Again, Happy New Year to you, and look forward to 2016 and beyond. Thank you, everyone.